Hello, this is Sophie Lawson from sophielawson.com, and you're catching me today in the middle of I'd call it a shower, a rainstorm maybe even, because I'm outside today walking around Plymbridge Woods, and it's beautiful out here. It's Sunday morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, and it is raining quite a lot, I suppose, but I like it. I like it when it's raining sometimes. It's quite nice, especially if you haven't got to go to work or something. But this podcast here, I'm going to be talking about, this is only going to be a tiny little one, whilst I walk around the Plymbridge Woods, and we're talking about not drawing enough. So this year, 2020, has been one of the most strangest years. I suppose it's been a strange year for everyone really, but it's been a year where I've not really done much drawing, I suppose. Our little Dennis is with us today. He's going to, he hasn't, let's start this one. Little Dennis, come on, get your act together. So let's get into it. We can talk about, what's it called? Yeah, not drawing enough. It's something in my head right now wants to say start it again, but I'm not going to. So I've been thinking about this quite a lot the last few days, the topic of not drawing enough, and I keep going back and forth between, 1 minute feeling, I suppose, guilty. So I keep going back and forth on this one because, 1 minute I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what to say. Yeah, I've got loads of stuff to say here, but I don't really know how to say it. But what do I want to talk about then? Well, I want to talk about not drawing enough is the main topic, and some of the reasons why, and then trying to work out whether I should be feeling the way I'm feeling. We're on the edge of a cliff edge sort of thing at the minute, but yeah, so I've been thinking, why haven't I been drawing so much this year? Well, what happened was, I think it was last year, I've been trying to work out when it was, but my website broke, and what happened was, at first I thought, I'm not going to bother working on the website anymore, and then what happened then was, I need it. That's the thing. I'm in a bit of a pickle, I suppose. I need my website, but because it's broken, I've got to do loads of work to get it fixed. And I've always been a sort of all or nothing type of person. So I want to get on with the website, and if I get on with the website, I focus on it. It's very hard to then do anything else. So that's one thing. The other thing is, we had the whole thing with the face masks and stuff this year, which was for me that was very much like a mind game thing. Yeah, there's lots of stuff to do with the mind, and what it did was, which is a positive, it made me really focus inwards, and I feel like that was the best thing I ever did. So there was a lot of time I was just meditating this year, not really actually doing any art or stuff, just meditating. That's another reason. I've also been lucid dreaming lots. Well, not necessarily lucid dreaming, but I've been dedicating a lot of time to sleeping to work on my lucid dreaming practice. And the thing then is, there's only so much time in the day, and there hasn't been enough time for it. But the thing is, I know that you have to make time for it. So I guess this week's inspirational quote goes into this, because I was thinking about all the reasons, and then I started thinking to myself, all you're doing really is coming up with a bunch of excuses, because if you really wanted to do drawing, you would have done your drawing. It was all about focus. So I guess the thing is, my focus this year has been working on the website. Yeah, working on the website, making videos, meditating, and lucid dreaming. and then art has been sprinkled in. But I don't want it to be like that. I want to be, this is the thing, I want to be creating more artwork. But then I'm also thinking, is it really necessary to be creating more artwork? Because something that happens, hey, there's a little squirrel on the tree. I love squirrels. Something that happens is, when you start, the deeper and deeper you get inwards, like with meditation and stuff, the deeper you get, the more you start to realise nothing really matters. So I even had that happen with the website this year. I went through a phase where I thought, it's not really worth it. All the time and energy going into that website, I thought it's not really worth it. And then you start thinking, well, what's the point in anything? That's not a negative thing though. I know that sounds like a negative, but for me, when you come out into nature, you realise how sort of spontaneity, everything is very spontaneous out here. Like the animals are just bouncing around, enjoying themselves, and you sort of think to yourself, this is what life should be. It shouldn't be spending all your time doing things. So there's a lot to work out here. Yeah, there is a lot. Oh, look at little rivers as well. I like rivers. Working about. So, this is a bit of a brain dump episode. I've got millions of things to say about this, but I haven't got much time to talk. Time. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Time. Yeah, you've only got so much time. So you have to decide what's important. So I've been thinking to myself, what I've been thinking is, if I wanted to, and this is the same for anyone, if we focused on something like drawing, if we focused on that, put all of our energy into it for a couple of years, you would get really good at it. I know that from experience, working on portraits. I focused on it, like I've never focused on something before, and my art improved so much just because of the focus. So I know that if you just focus on like your art, so if you focus on something, you're going to get good at it. But the question is, what is the reason for focusing on it? Because I could spend 10 hours a day, every day for the next year, practicing drawing and studying and stuff, get really good at it, but so what? That's what I think. It's like, so what? So what if you get really good at it? It's not really... what is the point, I suppose? I suppose what's happened is I've lost the purpose. But then the other thing is, like making videos and stuff, well, again, it even goes into that. What is the purpose of anything? I really think that's an important question. Yeah, I need to ask that. I love walking around here, it's brilliant, because you don't know where you're going half the time. And I tell you what, nature is like a fantastic metaphor for life, because it's all completely random, but yet it seems to have a purpose, and it always creates beautiful things. And the thing is, this year, what's happened is because it's the end of the year. This always happens around the end of the year. I sort of look back and think, what did I do this year? What am I proud of and stuff? And I think, I loved the videos I created this year. I really enjoyed the videos. I've loved doing this podcast. I'm going to fall down here now. Yeah, getting down banks is one thing. Getting up is another, especially when it's raining. So I love making videos and podcasts. It's one of my favourite things. So I know I'm going to keep doing that. I love creating artwork. It's the website. Oh, this was what I wanted to say as well. Because I did think to myself, should I just not bother with the website and get my head down and get cracking on art? Because the thing is, I've still got about 300 pages, I think, on the website to do. I've been currently working on the diary pages, and well, what I've got to do is I've got to reformat all the pages. Guys, this is a workout walking around here. I've got to reformat all the pages. I love the nice colours out here as well in nature. Oranges, greens, browns. Oh, I'm just going to walk past some people, so be a bit quiet, I think. There's also I need to take a breath as well.
Are you alright?
Got my breath back a little bit. So what happened was, whilst I've been, no, I haven't got my breath back. But what happened is, I love the sound of water running as well, like little rivers and stuff. Sound of water running is brilliant. But so as I was working on these diaries, I've been rereading my old diary entries from like 2014, 2015, when I first came out as being transgender. And it was amazing how much I've changed, I suppose, over the last 5 years. So what it made me realise was, well, it made me realise I need to write more, and I need to get more writings on my website. So then I started thinking, well, I can't do everything. If I do that, I then can't do me art as well. But the thing is, it is amazing how inspiring it was to read these old diary entries. So then what that did was it made me even more determined to get the website completely updated. So there's part of me that's like, shall I just focus on the website? And I feel like it's going to take at least another year to get it sorted, because it is a big job. So shall I just do that for a year, and then by the time I've finished that, I can then get on with the art? Or shall I get on with the art, forget about the website? Or should I somehow get my head into a place where I can do the drawings, do the website, stuff like that? Is this actually not a problem? Is it not an issue with just doing art or doing anything? In other words, if I was doing my art, would I then be thinking, oh, I've got to be doing the website? So in other words, no matter what I did, I feel like I would always be thinking the same thing. Yeah, there's always going to be this feeling of I should be doing something else. And then I thought, well, what if maybe what I should be doing is finding a way to do everything all at once. In other words, find a way to do my drawings, my website, my videos, meditation. There must be a way to do this. And that's what it's all about now, I think, is balance. It's all about trying to find balance. Yeah. There. The ground is all squidgy. I think there's two things going on here. This is not really an issue with art. It's an issue with purpose and balance. I suppose I haven't asked myself. I haven't got a purpose at the minute, I don't think. I'm just doing all these things without a purpose. Maybe that is okay, I don't know. Guys, it's a bit slippery around here. all squidgy. Yeah, it's interesting. That's basically it. I feel like that's the podcast today. It's just me thinking about what I should be doing. And I'm a bit confused, I suppose. What I want to do, there's two things I want to do, and I can't do either of them. One thing, I would like to just focus on the website, forget about everything else, and then once the website's done, put into place my little routines. Yeah, a little structure of like, one day I would do drawings, one day I would focus on the website, one day I would focus on this. So split every day up into different things. But I could only do that after I've done the website. Or should I do it now? Maybe that is it. Maybe I should do it now. Yeah. Maybe I should do it now. Shapes of trees. They're very weird. Beautiful shapes though. You get some trees that are like bending over. It's quite cool it is. Well, I hope you got something out of this episode. It's just like it's one of those brain dump episodes. I'm just talking about stuff without really knowing what I'm talking about. But what I've always found is, when I listen back to these, I always seem to get something out of them, myself, which is a bit weird. This is what I love about doing podcasts and videos and stuff. Really, the only thing you've got to do is make sure, whatever you're doing it for yourself. And I know that sounds a bit selfish, but it's actually not. Because if you're doing it for yourself, listen to this, the sound of the gate slamming. I love this sound. Cool. I think as long as what you're doing, well, there's two things. As long as what you're doing you love, as long as you love what you're doing, and what you're doing for yourself. In other words, you could love drawing, but if you're drawing things that you don't want to be drawing, because somebody else has said you've got to draw them or something, I feel like that wouldn't be healthy for the long term. But equally, you might do things you love doing. What was it? You got to do things, you got to do what you want to do, you got to do it for yourself. Yeah, you might be doing what you love, like you might be drawing characters or something, but if you're not doing it for yourself, you might be drawing characters for somebody else or something, which are characters you don't really have any connection to. I feel like that also wouldn't be sustainable. So it's almost like what you've got to do is get a balance between doing what you've got to do is make sure what you're drawing, what you're doing is what you love, and that you're doing it, and that you're doing it for yourself. Yeah, because that's something I've noticed with these podcasts. If you do it for yourself, and the only reason you're doing it is for yourself, then if anyone else likes it, that's almost like just a Brucey bonus. Yeah, it's quite cool that. Whereas if you're trying to do things for other people, you won't actually enjoy it yourself. That's the thing. The one thing I know for certain is I will never stop, never say never, but I feel like I would not stop doing these podcasts because I get so much out of these podcasts. They've helped me so much, and I would recommend, if you're on the fence about doing a podcast of something, I would say do it. It's amazing how much you will learn and grow doing a podcast, and you'll end up doing things you thought were impossible. That's what I love about it. The other thing, I forgot to talk about this, the other thing is I've noticed you go through like seasons. So there's some seasons in my life, but it's always seeming the same. every year there's months where I've got this desire, burning desire to draw. Then there's these other months, there's no desire to draw, but there's this burning desire to say play video games or something. So then the other thing I start thinking is that a good thing or not? Because what I've done this year is I've accepted that and I've said that's the way it is, and I've just accepted it. But is that actually a negative? Would it be better to say no, I'm going to focus on art, and when the desire to do something else comes in, I'm going to say no, I'm focusing on art? Is that a positive? Would that be better? Or again, is it a one size fits all? Is it maybe that one year it's all right to do other things, and then another year maybe it feels better to do just the one thing? It's interesting. Yeah, lots to think about, definitely. But this podcast is definitely coming to an end now. It was only supposed to be 10 minutes. I think it's already about 30 minutes. But what a beautiful place to end it. We're ending it on a little stone bridge overlooking a load of Christmas trees, which is quite cool. And it's quite fitting as well, actually, because next week the podcast is going to be all about Christmas stuff. Well, not really. I'm going to call it the Christmas episode. I think I'm going to call it Christmas Chill, and I'm going to talk about the latest games and films, books and stuff. It's going to be like an episode just talking about... It's going to be a very relaxed, chilled episode, I suppose. That's basically that. This week's inspirational quote. That's all that we've got left. Well, little Dennis is going to end it for us. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I really do. And all that's left is this week's little inspirational quote, and it goes to Sean McCabe. Sean McCabe from SeanWest.com. I'll put links and everything in the show notes at sophielawson.com, and you can also find this as a podcast at youtube.com/sophielawson. That's a video, you find it as a video. This week's inspirational quote goes to Sean McCabe, and it is, don't make excuses, make things. Because that's what I noticed. I started making a load of excuses, but the thing is, you've got to make sure that you're not actually doing something that you don't want to be doing. So you have got to make sure. It's all about balance again. I think what you've got to do is, it's almost like write all the excuses down, and then analyse the excuses and say, okay, one of the excuses is I haven't done much drawing this year because I've been working on the website. On one way that is an excuse, on another way that might actually be like sort of wisdom or something, because you might say, well, hang on, it's actually more important that I do work on the website, so I'm okay with that. So I feel like even though you do want to be, even if you're making excuses, yeah, you're still making things, as long as you're making things. And that's something I've noticed. Everything I'm doing is about creating something. I'm either working on a website, so I'm creating a website, or I'm working on podcasts, so I'm creating podcasts, or I'm working on drawings, so I'm creating drawings, or I'm working on videos, so I'm creating videos. So in a strange way, yeah, oh, I love that. Well, this has been one of the most rambly episodes I've ever done, but I've come away with a nice thought. And the thought is, I don't really care what I'm doing, as long as I'm creating something, which is quite cool. Yeah, because I think what will happen is, in the end, everything you're doing, it will all come together in the end. In other words, you could spend the next year working on drawings, and then the next year after that working on your website, the next year after that working on videos, or you could do all of them at the same time. I think at the end, after say 5 or 10 years, you would end up at the same place anyway. Yeah. So I feel like it doesn't really matter. Yeah. So my takeaway from this episode is, if you're not doing enough drawing, but you're still creating stuff, well, for me, I feel like that might be okay. Hey, look, we're into going across a little tiny bridge thing. That's basically it then. So this week's little inspirational quote: don't make excuses, make things. I was going to say tings then, make tings. Don't make excuses, make things. Sean McCabe.